everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would show you guys my current physical book collection, what I have read, what I haven't read, and where my collection is at in general. It is a smaller version of what I actually own. A lot of the books that I own are actually at my parents' because the only storage I have for books is either the bookcase in my living area or this. So I don't have much space to contend for. Why not start with these books on the floor first? These are probably the most notable and recognisable. You saw them in the intro already. Actually, you saw all my books, but these books, all of my Harry Potter books. These are old, guys, very old. Like, I looked it up quite recently and I think these are quite rare editions. I can't remember which book it is now, but there's like two of the books that are like first editions. And that's not even joking. I have a feeling it's this one, the Philosopher's Stone, either the Goblet of Fire or the Half-Blood Prince. I'm not too sure. I can't quite remember which one it is, but when I was a child, these were released, obviously. So we obviously bought the books as they came out. So this one, it literally has our surname marked in there for everyone to see. This is so old. I'm actually debating buying a new book so I can like annotate it and stuff. But this edition was sold in 1997. I was 6 years old, so these books were one of the first series of books that I read by myself. I'm fairly certain, like the first 3 books, so the Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and The Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm fairly certain my mum read them to me, or we had the audiobook. It was actually quite a common thing for us to have the audiobooks on when we went on long car journeys to France, because we used to take the ferry across or drive to like skiing or camping. We would listen to like an audiobook and it would end up being Stephen Fry's version of the Harry Potter books. These are my favourite series. I have read these books so many times and they're the family books. They're not even my books, they are my family's. And I took them because I was worried when my mum and dad moved out of my childhood home. They moved, I think, in 2020. I was afraid that they were going to throw these out and they weren't going to make the move. So I took it upon myself to take these books because I don't want these to be lost in the world because they are my babies. So we have all of them and still read them to this day. I have to admit, I do watch the DVDs, the films a lot more, but I do love a read every now and again. They are like my comfort book. I would say, I don't know why, but Christmas time, I love just rereading Harry Potter books. They're also a book that I gravitate towards to when I'm going on holiday. And like, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm so afraid of these versions like falling apart, I do have the whole series on my Kindle as well, so I can take my Kindle with me and read the books on my Kindle. I have no shame in doing that. So that is the first set. So we have got the Philosopher's Stone. Obviously, look at how worn out this is. Like, even here, look at how faded it is on the spine. The Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban. I don't know why, actually. These two are in paperback, but then all the rest of the books are in hardback. Don't know. But Harry Potter and The Prisoner of Azkaban, this is my favourite book, my favourite movie, my favourite everything. I love this one. If you're wondering, we have got The Goblet of Fire, The Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and The Deathly Hallows. I remember when we got, I think it was The Goblet of Fire, because of how thick it was compared to The Prisoner of Azkaban, it was so daunting. This was like the biggest book I'd ever read at that point. More recently, I don't even know how long ago, but I think it was before I moved out of my family home, I was gifted this Harry Potter and the Cursed Child book. I found this quite weird because it is literally a script of the play, which I have now seen. So I probably got this when it was released. This was released in 2016. I saw the play for the first time last year, so I actually want to read this again now that I've seen the play to kind of get more of an understanding of what was happening, because I found without seeing the play that this is really difficult to kind of read into. So yeah, I haven't actually read the full version of this, well, just the full of this at all. I swear my focus is not focusing today. And it's about basically, oh, there we go. Right, let's now talk about these books. I have not read them at all. I got them for Christmas one year, or maybe my birthday, I don't know. But this is the Maze Runner series, which I think one of the films, or two of the films maybe, have been created. I actually haven't kept up to date. I am a massive fan of Dylan O'Brien, but I honestly just have not been paying attention. Brand new, I should probably put them onto my reading list to get them to be read, because they're just sitting here gaining dust, not being read. But I don't even think I even read the first one, so they've just been sat here. Oh, you know what? I did read the first one, or at least I began to read the first one. Maze Runner. How far did I get into it? This was back when I used to dog ear my books. This, I got only to chapter 4, which was 22 pages in. That's terrible, guys. I'm definitely going to have to pick this up again in the future, I think. Try and read these all. Maybe that'll be a challenge for me to do later on this year, after maybe I finished my current series challenge. The other book that was on that shelf was this, Lord of the Flies. This was a book that we were forced to read in secondary school as part of our GCSE year, as our English exams. We were studying Lord of the Flies, and this was one of my favourite books that I ended up buying the book straight after we'd finished reading it. And yeah, this is a much loved book of mine as well. I actually don't want to read this again. Yeah, Lord of the Flies. Beautiful, beautiful book. And the other book that's currently on the floor right in front of me is this Seven Sisters. I'm currently just about over halfway through it. This is a series that I want to start reading, and I have asked for the series for my birthday. I'm being really slow trying to get through this, so that hopefully if I do receive it on my birthday, then I can continue straight on with the series. But if I don't, then that's okay as well. I don't mind buying this entire series. I want to buy it physically because I'm really enjoying it, and I know I will reread these because that's a thing of me. I do have to say, my Kindle I pretty much use for all books, and if I am going to reread a book, I will then buy it physically. If I won't reread the book, it just stays on my Kindle forever and ever and ever. We have got Lessons in Chemistry, we've got The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, we've got Phantom of the Opera, and we've got the Animal Farm books. So these are all books that I have read and finished this year. Actually, I need to go and take this one back to my parents at some point because this is not mine. I just decided to read it because it was in my to be read list anyway. But absolutely loved these two books. I fell in love with The Phantom of the Opera. I really want to see the musical now because it was so good. But this is, yeah, the books that I've read this year. Lessons of Chemistry is also a really good book as well. I really enjoyed reading that one. So these are books that I have completed this year. Animal Farm and Phantom of the Opera were relatively new finishes, to be honest. And then we've got this row underneath, which ends here. So these are a selection of books that I've either bought for my own self or are books that I have stolen or borrowed from my parents' home. So firstly, let's talk about the ones I've taken, borrowed from my parents. Ooh, there seems to be a postcard in here. Dear Pat, just a few lines from in the north of Holland, where I am staying for 5 days with my cousin. Hope you and Cyril are both well. It is my intention to write a letter to you as soon as possible. I am writing a card to David too. Lots of love from James, and also for, oh well, this has got to be really old. I wonder how old this is. It doesn't tell me. What? 1995. Crazy. Mrs. P. Lewis. This is to my grandmother. I was 4. Wow, so this must be a book that was passed down from my grandparents then. This is the Fables from Aesop. You know, all the classic. I actually haven't read this yet, which is why it's in my thing to read. When was this released? This has got to be quite old. Oh! Okay, it wasn't from my okay, this is all making sense. Prize awarded to Robert Sandbach for good progress made. So this must have been when he was a child. So Robert Sandbach, my great uncle, so my granny's brother. And then also alongside that, we've also got this book, which is Favourite Fairy Tales by Anderson. This is from, for Pat, Christmas 1929. So Pat is my grandmother, with love and best wishes from Granny and Auntie Annie. So this is from my great grandmother. It made me sneeze, that's for sure. Wow, that's an old book. I again haven't read this yet, but this has got like all of the classics in there, like the Snow Queen, like Han Anderson. You know, everyone should know who Han Anderson is. If you don't, then you need to read up on him because he's well known for his fairy tales. So these are the 2 oldest books that I own, and I really want to get my teeth into and read. Some more books that I have got from my mum and dad's are these 3. We've got 1984, which I've never read, and that's on my to be read list. We've got The Hobbit, which I actually thought was massive, but this is really small, so I'm quite surprised with that one. And also Jane Austen's Emma. These 3 I have never read before, and they have been on my TBR. So the only other one that I don't own is this one. This is The Unforgotten by Laura Powell. So she is, I don't know, she's my brother's ex-girlfriend, and she wrote this book, and I thought I'd read it at some point, so I've got that book. Normal People I own. This is my book. I love this book. I read this around the time the TV show came out, and then I watched the TV show. I think I prefer the book over the TV show. We have got all 5 of the Heartstopper series. soon to have the 6th one join when that one is released, but I will be adding to that one. I love this series, by the way. I love the TV series, and I want it to be renewed for like a 4th season. I'd love that to happen. And I have cried a lot, and so I thought I would support and buy. And it's sort of like a graphic novel rather than like a book, which is quite different because that is like the first time I've ever read a book like so. And then the final book is this one. You may have already seen me with my failure. Spot the differences. If that doesn't make any difference, read the back. This one is in English, which I can read. This is in Polish, which I do not know the language of. But this is also one of my favourite books. This is one of the ones that was on my Kindle originally, and I've reread it on my Kindle 3 times, and I was like, you know what, I think it's time I bring this one across and actually buy the physical book. So this one is one of the ones that made it. Same as the Heartstopper series. I also read that on my Kindle first, and yes, love, love, love. I think there's one more book, which is this book. This is not a published book, but it technically is a published book. This was created in 1984 to Susan and Anthony, who are parents, with my love, Mummy. So this is actually from my granny, and it's about my granny's first husband, my uncle's dad. It's Charles Albury. It's about him and his life, I believe. There was like a book that included him in it, and like a TV show that also kind of portrayed him. Pretty impressive, because he was pretty monumental in doing this stuff. This is what he was good at doing. He translated this stuff into this stuff. Impressive, huh? So I want to read this book as well to like learn more about him. And there we go. That is all of my books that I own. I would love my collection to actually be bigger in my flat, but I really need to like move somewhere where I can have like a full-on library. I can only dream of having like a wall that is a bookshelf. I just can't feasibly have that in my flat at the moment. It is a dream, but one day it will come true, but that is not today. That is my video for today. I have loved reading like my entire life, so I'm really enjoying bringing this side of me to you guys, and give me any recommendations of what I should read. That'd be great. This camera keeps on focusing and not focusing. Very confusing. Anyway, I will see you guys on Sunday for my next video. Bye guys.